Hello and welcome. How are you guys doing? My name is DJE, and I'm an alcoholic. I have been sober for quite some time now, and I wanted to bring to you another video here in January of 2015. In this video, I'm going to show you some easy ways to get some basic research on where to start when getting sober. Also, if you need help giving somebody else advice. Number one, you have to ask yourself, or you may ask yourself for somebody else, is my life unmanageable? Are you missing events, not remembering things, having problems with the law, having problems with your social relationships, your loving relationship, if you have one, and your relationships with your family? You might ask yourself, is alcohol the reason? On June 4th, 2012, I entered Alcohol Anonymous. And the reason why I come to you live via YouTube here is because I want to spread the awareness of alcoholism and recovery. The reason why it's so important for me to come to you live is to tell you that there is hope and there are ways to save what you might have already damaged. If you feel like your life is unmanageable, there are ways to fix it. If you feel like there's ways that you just need to go in a different direction, there's ways to go that direction. I don't script these things. I don't plan on how I'm going to speak. Basically, I have an idea of what I want to say. What I can suggest is there's a few simple techniques that you can start with. One, if you're currently having some major problems, if you just can't stop drinking, if you can't stop using drugs, if you feel like your life is a disaster, and you just are tired of people telling you, you need help, you need to get things together, there are ways to help you. I entered Alcohol Anonymous knowing that it was a program of recovery, but I was scared to death to walk up the stairs to figure out what was next. I had already gone to rehab at the time. I had tried going to a therapist. I had tried seeking medical attention, and none of that worked. It worked for a short period of time. I was able to gather about 2.5 months of sobriety time during the month of January 2012. I was living in a place of desperation. And what I mean by desperation is I was wanting to figure my life out. I had already gone to rehab, detox, and I still didn't know what to do. I was not wanting to develop a new lifestyle. I didn't want to stop drinking. I wanted to continue living a lie, basically. And it wasn't until I admitted to my family, my friends, and personal people in my life that realistically I have no control over this disease and I need help. My family, my Qua family, certain people in my life, the last few months of my grandmother's life before she passed in October of that year, I missed out on a lot of things that I wish I could get back. There's a lot of things that I know down deep that I still have to fix. I still have to make some amends with some certain people in my life. I do know that things have gotten dramatically a lot better. Basically, I had to start over. When I entered AA the first time in January of 2012, I wasn't ready. I entered the meeting, I looked like probably a fly on the wall. I was scared to death. I had no clue what I was entering. This was just a week shy of me being in detox and in starting the rehab process. I decided after that process that I wanted to move and get back into my own lifestyle again after being in rehab. So I went and lived on my own again. I decided that I didn't think that I needed to be sober. So I started drinking again. And when I started drinking, things started adding up, and they added up even harder this time. I was missing work. I was drinking more. I was drinking and driving. I was doing things that I shouldn't have ever done. I'm surprised that I'm alive. On July 4th, 2012, I was able to conquer 30 days of sobriety time. On that 30-day mark, after entering AA, I had my family and my friends come down to an open meeting, which at Alcohol Anonymous, open means anybody can attend that meeting. And I wanted to prove, not only to myself, but to my family, that I was very serious. And I was very serious this time, even though I had tried many times to get sober. This time I wanted out. I was tired of the chains of addiction tying me down. Addiction was creating so many problems in my life. I had lost relationships, friendships, colleagues of mine, different people that I worked with. I was creating demons inside of my body and my head that I didn't want there. I wanted life just to be over. I don't know if I ever really wanted to attempt suicide, but I think that I would have definitely went towards that path if I didn't find a way out. And I found a way out. I'm not saying this is the change that everybody has to have in their life, but for me it worked. And for a lot of people it does work. A lot of people are confused where to start, what to do. I know that for me, when I entered the program, I decided that I had enough. I was tired of the disrespect that I was feeling from life. That's basically it. I created that disrespect. I created that unsatisfaction of the way I was living. Some noticeable things that I was noticing all the time is, the smell off of my skin, the redness in my eyes, the yellowness of my teeth, the crust of my eyelids, the crust of my ears, the dryness and the flakiness of my skin. Different things that my body was telling me that I was doing to destroy myself. My main drink of choice was vodka. I drank vodka with everything. I put it in Sprite, I put it in pop, all sorts of different drinks. I even remember having vodka as a shot and drinking it next to a beer. And it wasn't just a shot, it became like a full drink with no ice, no mixer, no nothing. Just a straight drink. Sometimes, and most of the time actually, towards the end, I would drink straight out of the bottle. And drinking out of the bottle was just embarrassing. And I would do that only in the quietness of my home. I didn't want to leave my apartment. I didn't want to go anywhere. I tried dating, and dating obviously was not going to work with an alcoholic. It was a distraction of life, and it needed to end. And there wasn't a way out until I figured it out. I figured out a way to try to live my life in somewhat of a social setting. I didn't want to live in a box. I didn't want to live my life staying indoors 24/7. I didn't want to live my life never experiencing the fun things. Within the last 2.5 years of sobriety, I have attended over 20 concerts. I have traveled to 3 destinations, 2 of those out of state. In that time, I have changed jobs now 3 times, but those are the things that I never would have done in the past. I never would have changed a job because I was scared to leave what was comfortable. I would never move because I was scared to move. I was scared to pull the skeletons out of that apartment that I was living in for 5 years. 5 years of living hell, basically. I drove my life into a complete wall. And I had to figure things out because my way wasn't working. And I needed help, and I couldn't do it on my own. I could not focus this issue that I had without help. I had to have support, and I had to figure that out. It took a long time for me to do that. Once I entered AA, I admitted on my first meeting back in I said, "Hi, my name is Eddie Russell, and I am returning back to my first meeting. I have been drinking since, I think at that time it would have been 3 or 4 months that I was in a steady relapse. And finally, when I asked for help, I had nobody else to turn to. My family had pretty much wiped their hands of me. My family loves me, but they knew that hard love was the best love. So they had to turn their back on me, and they had to leave me alone and let me figure it out on my own. Financially, I was in a rut. I was on the edge of losing my job at the time, full-time, and I was teaching back then. Can you imagine a teacher being an alcoholic? You'd be surprised how many people that are alcoholics do pretty important jobs in our world. And you'd be surprised how many people that I have met in recovery that do some amazing work, and they're involved in our community. They're community leaders, they're news anchors, radio talk show hosts. Some of the most famous people I've met actually are in recovery, and some of the most amazing individuals that you'll ever lay eyes on are in recovery. Some of the things that I noticed when I got sober is that my skin started to feel soft and oily again. I started to feel, when I woke up in the morning, fresh and revived. I had more energy about life. My eyes were white as the white walls that I have here in my loft. My breath, my teeth, everything improved. My appearance, my look, my weight. I lost, right off the bat, I lost like 15 pounds without even just trying. There was a lot of things that happened to me that getting sober did for me. It allowed me to build the relationship again with my family and create a relationship with other people that I never had. I was able to mend some bridges with people that I never thought I would get there with. I am closer now with my own sister than I've ever been in my entire life. I am closer now with my own father than I've ever been in my entire life. And of course my mother I'm very close with also. I'm close with all my family. I wish I would have had this relationship with my family for the last 10 years. And fortunately, they are forgiving, loving people to forgive me for my wrongs, for my lies and my dishonesty about this issue that I was creating for myself. Enough about me. I want to show you some resources before I let you go. Now up here on this screen, I have my computer through an HDMI cable hooked in, and I'm going to show you just a quick resources if you're looking to find out information about where to start and what to do. First thing you can do is find a program that works for you. If you just can't stop drinking and you're just feeling like you're sick to your stomach, you're throwing up, you're not eating, you're just at your wits' end and you need help right away, the best suggestion for me is to tell you is to go to any local hospital as soon as possible. Check yourself in, walk into the ER, tell them that you can't stop using, drinking, and that you need help. Dial 911. Figure out what's best for you, because obviously cutting off 100% if you're used to drinking all the time is very unhealthy for your mind and your body. Your body will go into a state of shock. It can cause health problems, and if you read about it, you pretty much can have a seizure and die from all that. So what I want to do to you right now is I want to tell you that, number one, if you're just freaking out and you're just full of disaster right now, you need to just basically, go into a hospital. No matter if you have health insurance or not, go in there and get help as soon as possible. Another suggestion is if you want to try to stop drinking and you just want to get through the next couple days and you want to cut this off and try to go to a program and get some help, the best way is to go, and I'm going to show you right now. So you go into Google, and I would suggest YouTube, Google, Yahoo, whatever search engine you need. All these search engines will help you. So I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to type AA Kansas City. So just type in AA Kansas City. When you type it in Google, it comes right up as Kansas City www.kc-aa.org. You type it in, and boom, you're right into the Alcohol Anonymous Kansas City Area Central Office page. This is the central page here for Greater Kansas City. You go over here to the left, you go up to Meetings, type in Meetings, it gives you all the information that you need. This page was last updated on January 10th, it says. You can go down here, groups of names. Here's Kansas, and here's Missouri. Brookside, downtown, Kansas City, north of the river, northeast, plaza, south. Okay, let's go to that one. That's one's close to me. Going to scroll down, there's Brookside. There's Ward Parkway. Kansas City downtown. Kansas City midtown. All these different groups by categories. Now, most of the groups will meet at a certain time each part of the day. There is meetings in the mornings, there's meetings at noon, there's meetings usually always at 5 or 6 o'clock, and then there's meetings in the PM, which is 8 p.m., and then there's a meeting off of 80th and Metcalf over in Park, Kansas, what they call Northeast Johnson County Group. That's in Kansas, though. That's a 10 p.m. meeting, and it meets 7 days a week. Basically, how you understand this chart is you look at the meeting time. That's not hard. So this says right here, on the Live and Let Live group off of 39th and Main Street, just giving you an example. I'm not telling you to go to this one. I'm just telling you this is an example I'm showing you. Right here, it says 6 p.m. Open with an O. That means anybody can go, just to check it out. If it has a C next to it, that classifies it as closed. That means it's a closed meeting for members only that are continuing members that have a dedication to not drinking on an everyday basis. And that means you are dedicated to the program. Anybody can go to any one of these meetings at any time. They prefer, though, if you go to a closed meeting, that when you walk in, you sit down, you raise your hand at the beginning of the meeting, and you say your name and that you're here for the first time. They'll say, okay, and they will give you a 24-hour coin, 24-hour chip. And then usually somebody will ask you what brought you in, and they'll want to know a little bit about yourself. If you're not emotionally able to do that, that's understandable. Basically, it's not a big deal. You are doing the proper thing by walking in and admitting that you have an issue. So these are some techniques that you could try. Another technique is to go onto YouTube, type in Alcohol Anonymous, and a bunch of speaker meetings will come up. And you can see different types of what people have to say about the program. You can listen and kind of get an idea of what people around the world have talked about with Alcohol Anonymous. Some of the most famous people are sober in this world. This program has done remarkable things for a lot of people. A lot of people believe that sometimes they can quit drinking on their own, or they can go to their medical doctor and they can prescribe something that will stop drinking. You can only stop drinking with the support and the know-how and the will down deep to have inside of you that you want to cut it off. That's basically how it works for me. That's how it works for a lot of people, actually. If you find it in your heart that you want to quit, there are ways to stop. Save yourself now. Help yourself out. And you know what? Living life in the sober world isn't that bad. You could still go out. You could still do your thing. You could still go to concerts, ball games, sporting events, whatever it is you like to do. I'm a part-time disc jockey. I work in a bar. People often wonder, how do you do it? Well, I do it because I practice this program. I read the material. I do the meditations. I attend meetings. I have a sponsor. There's things that you have to do to be able to get to that one point where you want to go. You have to put the work forward to get the relief, to get the help. And you know what? Once you tack on some serious time, I'm not talking about even just a day. I'm talking like a week to 2 weeks to 3 months. You'll notice a difference, a huge difference in your whole world. Just try it. it's worth at least trying at least once. It might just save your life. I hope this information has been helpful for you. Like I said, these videos are not scripted, so I apologize if they were kind of all over the place. Again, this is DJE. My name is Eddie Russell, and reporting live from downtown Kansas City. Thank you very much.